What do you make of the new approach, if you like, from Deontay Wilder this time out, Derek?
Hey, listen, mind games are very important in boxing. You know, I think it's the only sport right now with all mind games, boxing basically. You know, you don't get that in football, but in boxing, it's all the chat, I want to knock you out. Oh, remember last time, what happened last time? You saw me, you didn't want to fight me, I'm calling you out. So, you know, Tyson Fury's mind games are very good. Yeah. You know, he's telling Deontay Wilder he's living in his head for rent-free. You know, and Deontay Wilder don't know what to say anything about that. So
he's kept quiet this time, though, hasn't he?
He kept quiet, and that's unusual for an American to keep quiet, especially when they've got a big fight coming up. You know, in the past he said so many things, you know, and he's delivered.
Yeah.
You know, in the last fight, he said so many things and he didn't deliver. So it's a tricky one for him to start coming out and saying things, and if you don't deliver, I don't think he'll be able to live in America for a while.
And Carl, has Tyson got into his head already, or is this a more measured approach from Deontay and Wilder? What's your take on it?
I think it's hard to play mind games with Tyson Fury, isn't it? I think if you look at what Deontay Wilder's doing and being quiet, and the headphones and stuff, I think it's because anytime he says something, Tyson Fury is much better at replying and embarrassing him and making a fool out of him. So I think it's probably been decided between Wilder and his team, just say nothing, you don't say anything, he can't, you know...
He can't feed off it.
He can't feed off it, he can't embarrass you, he can't return with a reply. Just keep your mouth shut and hopefully do the talking on the night.
What would you have made it, Derek? What would you have made of it, Derek, if one of your opponents wore headphones at a press conference, didn't want to really engage with you?
I think, you know, he picked on the trainer on the last press conference. You know, he went after Malik Scott. And then Malik Scott, he started biting on the hook and they started talking. He had his headphones. Malik Scott was fighting for, you know, arguing for Deontay Wilder, you know, but...
This was an incredible face-off, wasn't it? When
Yeah.
they started speaking here, but this was about 5 minutes where they're just staring at each other. Nothing was coming back from Wilder whatsoever. He wasn't being dragged in, Carl.
Do you think he has music on them earphones, or is he just trying to protect? What's he listening to?
I'd like to find out what he was listening to.
You'd like to find out?
Yeah.
So would I.
A bit of Pink Floyd, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But I don't know. I think it's really more to do with Wilder not saying anything because Fury could embarrass him.
And do you think Fury's already thinking that he's won the mind games already?
I don't know. I think that Fury's confident. He's always confident going into a fight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always confident.
And what do you make of this tweet here? It's Mike Coppinger saying that, you know, you have an obligation to promote the fight. Do you agree with that or
I don't know
not?
if you do have an obligation as a fighter to promote the fight. I think that the fight sells itself, this one especially, but I suppose making fights, it can help out, but I don't think they have an obligation.
Yeah.
That's
because if you're a quiet person in general...
Who's this guy, though?
Mike Coppinger, he's a well-respected journalist.
I wonder why he's saying that, because we need something to write about. So he's saying it now, you have to say something at a press conference, but if you don't want to say anything,
yeah.
You know, because remember, when I boxed Tyson Fury on our second fight, he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have to promote it. The fight was promoting itself. But, you know, but if somebody wants to be quiet on the podium, they can be. You know, you're not allowed to talk.
The stuff that he said...
That's a great tweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But the stuff that Wilder has said kind of behind it, it's all seemed a bit like theatrical and scripted.
Yeah.
He's not very good at just speaking off the cuff and having a conversation with someone. It's all like he has to know what he's going to say. And I think that's probably part of the reason why he didn't say anything when him and Fury were head-to-head.
But as you say, the other approach, the flip side to it, is what we've seen in previous contests, and he's came off second best. So he might be trying something different this time.
Yeah, he's probably just had to try something different. He saw what happened the first time. But again, face-to-face, he says nothing. But then, you know, when there's a camera on his face and he's training in the gym, he's plenty to say. Yeah. But just when he's there around Tyson, I don't think he's afraid of Tyson because he didn't have to take this fight. Remember, he was offered step-aside money. But I think he's afraid of being embarrassed. If he says something, Tyson can just reply with something
and
much better.
Deontay Wilder has said here that obviously that with the COVID that delayed the contest because of COVID, what happened to Tyson Fury, it's actually been a blessing for him because he's had longer to prepare.
I think it's been a blessing for both of the fighters, to be honest with you, for for Deontay Wilder and for Tyson, because they both had different issues in their life, in their own lives. But now is a perfect time for the fight happening now. Next week. So we're looking forward to that. He had a new trainer as well. Trying to gel the new trainer as well and stuff like that.
And you know all about Malik Scott. You were the first man to beat him. I looked at his record the other day. He was 35-0, and you beat him first, Derek. What do you know of him obviously as a boxer and a trainer?
Yeah, he used to spar Lennox Lewis.
Right.
Yeah, apparently used to give Lennox Lewis nightmares, inspiring, because he used to change, he used to move around. Yeah. But he didn't have the heart, though. He didn't have the heart of finishing. And then when they gave him a fight in what was it? His last fight in Monaco, he stank up the whole joint.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens. Maybe he might be a good trainer. An
incredible situation. Obviously, Deontay Wilder knocked Malik Scott out in a round, and yet he becomes his trainer.
It's a strange one, that, isn't it? How do you be trained by someone you've chinned? What can you learn from a guy that you've absolutely destroyed and knocked out? And you talking about the heart, Derek, as well. Malik Scott isn't really known for having a big heart in terms of how he fights. That's what Wilder needs in this fight, because at some point he's going to get hurt, most likely. He needs a big heart. How can you take advice from someone who typically you've already beaten but doesn't necessarily have a big heart?
And looking at Fury's preparations, how do you think his mindset is? Because he's obviously had some problems with the birth of his daughter. He had to stay behind. He did the honourable thing to stay with his wife and his newborn baby. But, it must have delayed preparations in terms of in the gym, going to Vegas. So how is he, you think, mentally for this one?
I think he'd be okay mentally. I think he always is, and I think for this one especially, knowing, again, we keep harping back to the first two fights, but knowing what happened in the second fight, and it's been a long lead up to this fight too. So although there's been the birth of one of his children, it hasn't been a smooth flowing camp, but he's trained hard, I'm sure. He looked in decent shape there for Tyson Fury standards when they done the head-to-head. So I don't think it'll have affected him too much.
And we've been asking social media who they think is going to win the fight. This is our poll. Well, 86% are going for Tyson Fury and only 14% for Deontay Wilder. Do you think that's a bit much? Do you think? What do you think, Derek?
It depends where 86 are from. Are they from London or around the whole world, basically?
Okay.
Yeah. But listen, everybody's got their own opinion. I believe Tyson will win the fight. Somebody behind on the bus might say, Deontay Wilder's going to come back with a knockout. This is why we love this sport, because you don't know what's going to happen.
I believe he wins the fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder wins the fight because he's got that knockout power. OK, let's go for predictions then. Who do you think is going to win in what round, Derek? Putting you on the spot.
I say round 8, Tyson Fury knockout.
Yeah, I say Fury 6-8.
6-8. And I say Fury 4-6. So I'll go early and you guys go a little bit later. But it's interesting, isn't it, that he is sort of an overwhelming favourite amongst people, amongst boxing fans, to win this one.
He has to do it. He's gone to America and he's dominating in American sport in Vegas, actually, getting a big contract with another TV station, and living both in London, in the UK, and in America as well. So it's going to be a great show.
When that bell rings, it's going to be a war.